the different types. Okay, constructor, again, it is not a rocket science. Once you understand what is a method, right? Constructor is like a piece of cake for you. Vishal has completed. Good sign, Vishal. Good. So now again, I want everyone to just take hands off your mission. Okay, understand what is this constructor and how it is being used, and then we will see, and I'll give you time for you to practice. Okay, just take hands off your mission team and just take examples of code over here. Okay, so first we understand what is a constructor. So let me write a program and explain to you so that you understand in detail. I'm going to create a new class. I'll just give constructor example. Okay, so now if you see here, team, yeah. So I'm going to now you. So how will you write a method? I'll just give specifier, okay, return type and method, and just give a method name called as print off. I'm just going to print something inside my method. Okay, so I'll just give us a so normal method. Okay, I'm printing a normal method over here. So now we need to understand what is a constructor. What is the difference between a method and a constructor? So what is a constructor is, so see carefully team, I'm just going to copy this class name. I'll just do off. That's okay. No rocket science, nothing like that. So what is a constructor? Constructor is a default method for the class. Someone asks you what is a constructor, you can just say it is a default method for the class. So whatever I have as a class, use that as a method name and I can play around with it. That's it. Okay, so why we are using this? Why? What is the use of this? Yes, there are a lot of questions coming into picture. So what is the use of having a constructor? Is inside constructor you can define the member variables or the definitions based upon that. Okay, so say if I'm using for this, I need to actually go a bit advanced. Okay, let me know if it is object model, right? So where we segregate the page objects and test cases. Okay, so in that area, constructor plays an important role. Why? Because so I can create a class where I have the only one method defined to create the page objects for all the classes over there. Okay, that constructor method alone will be helpful for me to define all the page objects for that class. Okay, so that's how powerful constructors. We can just use this keyword kind of definition, and we can use all the methods and definitions inside that class. Okay, now it will be a bit tricky for you. Don't worry, when we see that one, you'll understand detail. But general, what is the use of constructor is we create a method name. Rather, we can just give the class name as the method name and we can play around with it. Okay, default method. Someone asks you what is the default method for the class, we can say it is the constructor name. Okay, so we can not a constructor name, class name, and we can use that on our method definition. So I can just give so this constructor. And there is one more important thing as part of constructor is while we called it into our main method. Okay, I'll show you that one, how that one also. You don't need to explicitly call a constructor, you just need to create an object and that is fine. Okay, so now you see the example team. I void main of string args. Okay, so now how will I basically create an object for the class? I'll just give class name. Okay, object name. So I'll just give c1 is equal to new class name. Right, so now see carefully to run this program. Just created this object alone. Okay, I didn't call my constructor itself. Did I call my constructor? No, right? Just created the object alone, but this is constructed. This method is being invoked into my main method, but this is not called. Normal not being printed over here. You're able to see the difference, right? Only the constructor is being called. So what is the difference here? If we create the constructor. Okay, if you use the constructor in a program, that is a default method for the class. There is no need to call it explicitly. Rather, object definition is more than enough. There is explicitly, there is no need to call that into our program. That's where it will be helping in our page object model. So we use constructors there to define the page objects and test cases separately. So there are different ways of using a constructor. That's where, if you see in the slide, right? One is the default constructor and the second one is the parameterized constructor. So what is a default constructor is, if I just use the method name, that is a class name as method name, and if I just leave it without any parameters, it is called as a default constructor. So I can just give the name it as a default. Okay, so the parameter is constructed from the term itself. You can understand if I'm going to pass parameters. Okay, so we'll pass some parameters in the sense I just use the constructor name over here, and if